Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the markets in EVE Online. Now it is FanFest at the moment, so there's a lot of new information to wrap my head around, and I have not had the time to analyze too much of it just yet. But I do want to quickly touch on the economic lecture that we got from CCP AOG. I do like one aspect of this is that during 2013 there was actually deflation in the economy of EVE Online. Now this is deflation as measured in the gross domestic product, so basically everything in EVE calculated in value, there was a little bit of deflation, and that is actually something that I did notice during my EVE talks. I think it was either at the end of the summer or in September, with the tech trees going down for like a whole year, more than a year by now. With the minerals taking a sharp dive after Odyssey, the Tech 1 chips following suit, and then the Tech 2 stuff that's usually staying pretty much where it was. I did get the sense that in general there might have been some form of deflation, and it's nice to see that analysis validated. There is also something to keep in mind though. This measure of inflation is not the same as the way most people look at inflation, which is monetary inflation, so the amount of ISK in the game. It's not because the value of the market in general has gone down a little bit. It's actually fluctuated quite a little bit through 2013. That doesn't mean that there is less ISK in the game, so I do believe that we do have monetary inflation, which is a part of the problem with Plexes. But in general, for buying ships, for buying munitions, for buying Tech 3 ships, and for getting the minerals to produce stuff, there was deflation, and I did notice that as well. So I thought it was very nice that I was actually validated, just show that I'm a little bit on the right path with what I'm doing here. Talking about Plex, let's have a quick look at this here. 701 for the buyers, 715 for the sellers. This is a 6-month chart. Interesting part as well during the economic lecture. At the very tip here, when Plex were basically on their second really sprint upwards, here they did like 50 million in not a lot of time, and here they were adding another 40 or close to 40 million. CCP actually did intervene. They did not show us exactly how the intervention took place. But there was a CCP intervention in the Plex market right here at the top here, so that is interesting to know. Let's see at the end here as well. Maybe one thing I should look here, we are seeing a dive, finally a little bit of a pullback that is not a sharp reaction to a very fast rise. So yeah, this could mean indeed a pullback in Plexes. Now, from the economic lecture, the primary reason for the increase in price in Plexes that was mentioned there was that less people are actually putting them on the market. So there is not enough supply to meet demand. And one thing that I've said after reading some of the dev blogs about the industry changes, manufacturing is going to become a huge ISK sink. And so personally, I am expecting a pullback at this point because people will be putting more Plexes on the market to try and still get that 700 million ISK that they have now, which is historically extremely high, because once the summer expansion hits, there is going to be a lot of a serious damper on the monetary inflation for ISK, just because you have to pay up a percentage of anything you produce in the ISK sink. And so this is going to take, yeah, this is going to change this dynamic quite a little bit, and so I do think that we might see a serious pullback in Plexes here. Is this a buying opportunity? Of course, that's very difficult to say because with the summer expansion changes, the entire landscape, the entire economic landscape is going to change significantly. So it is very hard to say, but yeah, maybe, you know, if like I was hoping for after FanFest, we do see a pullback of Plex. If you can then time the bottom with another, well, it's no longer a winter expansion, so yeah, it's gonna be a lot harder to really make those yearly trades that I did for 2 years, I think. with Plexus. It's going to be an interesting time, and I do expect for the short term right now a little bit of a pullback just because of the huge ice casing that is coming with the industry changes. And yeah, so that was Plex. Not sure at what time I started, but we'll move on to the minerals. 505. Let's have a look here at titanium. That one is taking off nicely. So 505, need to write that down, of course. That one is taking off nicely. 555 already, coming from 510 at the beginning of the month. If I go for a 3-month chart, look at that, coming from 490 up to 560. That's pretty big. So yeah, 546, 551. People are definitely stocking up on minerals. I presume this is not just for preparing for the summer expansion, but this could just be that people are actually pumping stuff out at the moment. Something that I've never seen before. On the first page of the available slots for manufacturing, there were wait times. So there were still like 5 or 6 slots available, 8 jumps out of Dodixie, and that was it. So I do think what's happening at the moment, and a big part of this huge demand, because as you can see here from the numbers, 2 billion, 1 billion, 1 billion, this huge demand is actually being sunk into production right now, because you can still do it cheap, you can still do it without wait times. And yeah, there is probably going to be a big boost in manufacturing going on here. People are hoping to capitalize on the increase in price that's going to happen after the summer expansion. It's very interesting to see that I did notice the increased demand. I just never put up the link that people might be manufacturing as much as they can right at the moment. Just to have the stuff ready if prices do go up, which is very, very likely with the new price mechanic. They'll be ready to dump their stuff at a nice margin at that point. And so this is driving up the prices for minerals quite significantly. Let's have a look at pyrite, if that one is following suit. Nope, amazingly enough, that one, it's trying, but it's here for the entire month. It's pretty much flat. Here it tried a little bit from 1240 to breaking 1255, trying to reach 1260, but it's already pulling back. So maybe there's plenty of supply for pyrite for some reason, or someone is dumping stuff, but I am seeing much more demand than supply here. Look at that, 610, 883, a billion almost being bought here. You're not seeing these kind of numbers on the supply side. So I'm a little bit surprised that this trend has not happened or hit pyrite just yet. Let's have a look at the 3-month chart. Yeah, that one is actually the reverse of titanium. So not 100% sure what is going on here, but I do still expect that this might take off at some point, just because you are seeing this increased demand. And I do think now that I've nailed down why there is so much more demand, it's because people are just pumping out as much manufacturing output as they can at the moment. Let's have a look at Mixalon. What is that one doing? It went up early on, and now it's been able to maintain itself at around 50 ISK. Are we seeing more demand? Yeah, look at that, 148 million. That's more than the entire front page. Here again, 276 million. Of course, let's have a look at the 3-month chart for this. It's coming from like 48.50 towards 50 ISK. It's not that big of a jump, or that as clear as what we saw with titanium, but it is definitely up in like the last 2 months or something like that. And so yeah, it's a good time to be a miner, honestly, I think. Let's have a look at Isogen. This is the 3-month chart here again, going from 128 to 134. On the 1-month chart, we're probably seeing another stable one. We're taking a little bit of a dive here at the end. So maybe people are expecting that it won't be that bad anymore. I'm not seeing the super demand for Isogen here either. Keep in mind, of course, titanium, you need huge amounts of those, and so that could be why it's reacting so much at the moment. But yeah, these two, well, you get them here, you know, 14 and 17 million here, 10 million and 16 million. So that's much more balanced situation, which could explain the tail end of the chart. Still on the 3-month part, you're up a little bit, even if you start at the beginning, or here again at mid-March, you know, where the big swing up already happened. It's been able to maintain itself at a higher price point. So yeah, probably this stuff is going on. Let's have a look at the nullsec ones. This is for Zydran on 3-month chart, up a little bit again from mid-March, probably when some of these announcements were made. At the tail end here though, you're again seeing, similar to Isogen, a little bit of a drop off, although the entire month has been pretty much stable. Supply demand, it seems okay to me, you know, 2.63 million, 2.3 million, 3 million, 2 million, 1 million, and of course there is a strong emphasis on the supply prices in something like Zydrine and the other Nelsec stuff. So yeah, let's have a look here at Megasite 1600. So again, yeah, pretty much a sideways movement. It did go up around mid-March, sideways movement since then, and now correcting just a little bit at the tail end. Let's have a look here then at Noxium as well. That one is actually, you can get that one from HiSec. So that's clearly up on the 3-month chart. It's already working its way back towards 750, I guess. Yeah, 743, something like that. More supply than demand? Well, not by that much anymore. Look at that. These are some pretty big ones here. In a totaling of 16 million units. That's these two big orders. So there's a little bit more demand, but it's not as pronounced as the real HiSec minerals like tritanium and Mexalon. So, but yeah, Noxium clearly up though for the entire month. So this is clearly happening. Let's have a look at Morphite, going down a little bit for the entire month. If I take a look at 3-month chart here, yeah, clearly going down from 7,500 to 7,000 ISK. Almost breaking that on the sell orders. So if you want to invest a little bit in Morphite, could be a good idea. Keep in mind this has nothing to do with Tech 1 manufacturing. So general trend is up, I think, and the reason is the summer expansion and the increased output, I think, that's going on at the moment. So let's have a look at Tech 1 chips then at around 11:30. Let's see if there's any reaction on that end here. Drake's pretty much sideways. I would not be surprised, honestly. Let's have a look at the 1-month chart here. Yeah, pretty much sideways movement. Probably looking at a well supplied market. Look at that, 30 of them coming in at 46 million. I think people might be keeping some of the stocks back as well. Just picking up on any increased demand will quickly be filled up because people have the stuff ready. But I do think that they'll never allow the prices to drop too substantially. Then they'll just prefer to keep it for the summer expansion. Maelstrom up a little bit still. If you look at the entire 1-month chart, is pretty much a stable situation. The Omen went up for the entire month from 10 to 10.7 million, almost 10%. Not bad, but it is correcting after reaching 10.9 million. So if I look at supply demand here, you look at that, you can see 62 of them coming in pretty recently. You have a big order of 200 that is keeping everything under control. Yeah, as I've said, if there is a sprint up in price, supply is ready to be brought to the market, but they'll never really allow it to drop too low, I think. Next up, the Rock. The Rock is taking off again. That's pretty weird. The Rock is doing some weird stuff. Look at that, 236 million. A very small supply here. So something happened here. Someone maybe bought up all the rocks or something like that. And then we'll have a look here at the Talos. That one is correcting back again. A pretty much a stable 1-month chart though in my book. I do want to have a quick look at the Typhoon. So because that one is getting a new skin. Let's have a look at that, which looks awesome, by the way. So let's have a look at the Typhoon. Amazingly, no real reaction in the market just yet for the Typhoon, because this is going to get a really nice remodeling. So I did like what I see there during the EVE keynote. Let's have a quick look at the MOA maybe as well, because that one is getting an awesome remodeling, which will actually also change shape. Nope, no real reaction. Amazingly enough, people are not really jumping on this. But the MOA, which always looked a little bit weird, like a chicken, is going to be rebalanced and it's going to remodeled, and is going to look really cool with an added effect when it goes into warp. So that's going to be awesome looking. I'm looking forward to that very much. But yeah, Tech 1 market seems well supplied to me. Nothing drastic. Most of them just on a stable path at the moment. Let's have a look at some Tech 2 ships. 1420 for that, and let's see, I do prefer to go for the 6-month chart here. The Absolution slowly coming back up after reaching 195 million. You may be close to a buying opportunity if you can pick some up between 190 195. On the buy order front, you're probably looking at a good deal when one of these spikes hits again. The Astarte, it's just a little bit too high. You know, it needs to be close to 200 million in my book before another spike up might happen. So yeah, a little bit early here. Claymore, that one is working on 200 million price point, already bumping back up to 210, but on the buy order side could be interesting in my opinion. The Damnation, look at that, another beautiful spike that has formed here. We're looking at sell orders of 300 million ISK. If you had bought close to 220 and you're able to bring it to the market now, that's pretty awesome for active traders. This is precisely why I like Tech 2 ships and the command ships, because they're pretty expensive, but if they do take a jump up, it's pretty significant in a short amount of time. You're making tens of millions on a single ship, which I think is pretty damn good for traders. EOS going pretty damn low. Might be looking at buying opportunity here. 266 is well, pretty much at the bottom of the chart here. So if you're interested in some investments, yeah, EOS looking pretty good on buy order sides. The Guardian also, in my opinion, look at that, coming close to breaking 135 here on the sell orders, very close to the buy orders at 132. This again, in my opinion, a buying opportunity, especially if you look at the rest of the chart on 6 months, being as high as 170 and being more than 135 for pretty much the entire 6 months. So I do think that could be a good opportunity, even though it's maybe a little bit more medium term. Until something like another Nullsec war happens, where the Guardian is going to be fielded in large numbers. Maybe we'll see a summer war, and that could be a good investment. Then the Nighthawk is taking off from its early dip towards 215, something like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be investing in that just yet unless you really need one. And the Sleipnir is going down nicely. Its bottom though is close to 215, 220, 215. Buy orders 208, so maybe yeah, some Sleipnirs could be good. And then the Vulture is on its peak at the moment, so you're looking at selling opportunity here. But yeah, I think a lot of these do show the potential for trade in something like the Tech 2 market and the command ships very nicely. A lot of them at the bottom, some of them really at a peak with a nice sell opportunity. And yeah, it's for traders. I do think that this is pretty damn good. Let's have a look at the Tech 3 market. 1720 is what I'll write down. Legion jumping back up towards 145, coming from 125. That's pretty significant. If they all do this, I'll have a quick look here. Let's have a look here at the Loki. No, the Loki is not doing this. Let's have a look at the 1 month chart here. Pretty much stable at 124, 29, 15, 20. So a lot of supply coming in. Proteus here 135, so that's probably a flat chart. And then the Tengu jumped up a little bit to 130. The Legion, yeah, interesting. Someone must have bought a lot of Legions all of a sudden, or there must be more demand, which there is not. So someone must have bought a lot of Legions all of a sudden, because you're still seeing the oversupply situation. They did say that Tech 3s are on the roadmap to being rebalanced. So if you're seeing a little bit more demand, that is a possibility in my book. But it's still nothing that's going to come short term. But yeah, at some point CCP is going to rebalance the Tech 3 ships, making some the basic philosophy that I picked up from what they said is that they want to make all the modules a little bit more valuable. So they might buff up some modules, but don't expect Tech 3s to become overpowered all of a sudden again. So yeah, it's still a little bit very low prices, except for the Loki. I'd wait a little bit, see what the market does. This oversupply situation is probably going to pull the price back down. I do think Legions, are going to come to the markets trying to take the opportunity of 144 million, pushing the price back down below 140. In short order, should be done by next week if you're looking at investing in some Legions. Long term, yeah, maybe. You know, look at that, Loki's for 123, that's probably very low. If the rebalancing ends up being a real boost to Tech 3s, could be a good investment, but in my opinion it's still a pretty damn risky one. So yeah, that's the normal stuff. Something that I'm going to check out is the pirate faction battleships. They're getting rebalanced. People did, and I should really write down 1925 for that. People did mention that to me, that I should check it out. I was just so busy. I was aware of the dev post. I was just really busy, and I couldn't cover that. But yeah, let's have a quick look here. Macarial went up pretty nicely from 785 up to 820. It's correcting back a little bit, but yeah, maybe like 800 million as a new consensus price is definitely a possibility. From what I read during the keynotes, the Macarials, they were getting something special. Yeah, increased warp speed. So basically a Macarial battleship is going to be pretty much as fast as a battlecruiser in warp. And yeah, those Macarial, what faction are they from? Is that Angel Cartel? Let's have a quick look here. Description. And yep, Angel Cartel. Those Angel Cartel frigates are going to be extremely fast warpers, and those cruisers are going to be able to catch up to frigates. That's going to be a pretty interesting role for them. The Nestor, of course, is something a little bit different, because that's Sisters of Eve, and that one seems to be stabilizing at 1.4 billion ISK. Still way too much in my book. The Nightmare went up quite nicely. It's gonna get a nice buff. And I'm not really sure what the special benefit. Oh yeah, I think it was extreme speed for afterburner. So they're going to get a huge bonus for being afterburner, which should help with the frigates and the cruisers as well, for the Sanchez ships. Because yeah, they'll be able to fly very fast with an afterburner, which of course is a very big advantage, because you can't. The afterburner can't be turned off by the scram. Next up, the Balgorn. That one went up, but it's correcting a little bit. I think it's because it's not changed that much. It's just going to have this neuting potential that is going to basically get the pre-nerf newts, where it can newt any target, no matter how its capacitor situation is like. And so that's going to be the specialty for the Blood Raider faction ships. Next up, the Rattlesnake. That one's probably up quite significantly, and then it stabilized at 520. Might be going up a little bit as well, because it's going to get these special super heavy drones. I think they're like 50 bandwidth and cubic meters heavy drones that are going to be used, and I'm not really sure what the special trait was going to be for. What are these? Guristas? Not really sure here. Yep, Guristas. Man, I'm good with my guesses today. They get something special. Not sure what it is anymore. I think it's ECM. Maybe it's something like ECM. Wasn't that something for the Guristas that people claim that ECM is no fair game in PvP? Well, just ECM those guys first and then blow them up. And then finally the Vindicator, pretty much stable for Serpentis. I thought the Serpentis one got scram range, which of course is not really, I think, what you'll use the Vindicator for itself. Maybe on the cruisers and frigates we'll see some more movements. Maybe I'll quickly touch on that, why the hell not, I got some time anyways. Faction frigates, non-Empire factions, is it that? Let's have a look here. The Worm, yeah, up a little bit. Succubus, look at that, made a nice little jump here. And that's going to become extremely fast. Dremel down a little bit. Daredevil. Yeah, not seeing such a uniform movement that we did see in the faction battleships. But maybe because those traits, we're not really 100% sure how that's going to work on the frigates and the other ships. But yeah, on the battleships we definitely saw a big jump up in price with the announcements of the changes. And I do like the idea behind having all of these pirate factions have their unique speciality, such as Angels being able to warp faster than anyone else in their class. Yeah, the special neuting for Blood Raiders, stuff like that. Very interesting in my opinion, and a very good choice as well. And then we're hitting 24 minutes, and I'm going to have a quick look at the isotopes, because those were going to go up. Yep, taking big leaps up because of the changes to fuels that are going to happen. So everything for jumping is going to be 50% more expensive. So isotopes have gone up quite significantly. Yeah, keep in mind if you're like a capital pilot or you do transports with jump freighters, yeah, price is going to go up. And is this actually a block? Is it like that? Yeah, for the fuel blocks, we'll have a quick look if I can find those. Let's see here. Yeah, a more fuel block, for instance. Yeah, those jumped up a little bit as well. Although, oh, I'm sorry, Galente fuel block, yeah, jumping up as well in reaction to the isotope jump. So yeah, for bosses, you know, there is also the expectation of increased demand there. So I do think it's normal that that those jump up in price quite a little bit. If the isotopes become expensive as well, it's just going to increase that momentum. And it's going to be interesting, you know, with bosses coming all over HiSec. For anyone that really wants to put one down, they'll have the ability to do that. If those get bonuses to manufacturing and research, stuff like that, we might really see a lot of boss activity. So yeah, look out for fuel prices. Those might be going up quite significantly. Unfortunately, of course, as always with new stuff, the buy opportunities are a little bit late. Should have invested maybe a little bit in that. But we are still looking at putting up our own bosses, and we'll see how we deal with the fuel situations ourselves. But yeah, there you go. That's it for this EVE talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Interesting time, I think, ahead of us. What the hell? There we go. Because of the changes in the summer expansion, I'm looking very much forward to the CCP keynotes later tonight, which is going to compete with EVE Talk, but that's quite alright. So yeah, like I said, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all next time.